this session and all of them should be dedicated to Rifah Shloma with Rabbi Yaron Roven Shlita. His name is Yaron Ben Doris. Also Yehudis Bas Noach, Ariel Ora Basana, Imim Rasirachal Bas Brindel, David Shlomo Ben Sandra. Also a quick release of our dear friend Moshe Shmuel Ben Pnina and Tzlacha Rabba to Giveres Hana, Bas Avraham Avinu and the whole family. BeEzrat HaShem. All right. So we continue with our class Shabbos Home, and we're on a very interesting topic. It's chapter 23, and topic is trapping. Okay, so trapping, and we were talking about bees and cows and chickens and all of these very interesting things. So it's section 5, and now topic is the Rabbinic prohibition against trapping. A weak or sickly animal. It is prohibited by rabbinic law to trap the animal that cannot flee capture because it is old, sick, or injured. The sages forbade capturing this animal on Shabbos because they fear that it might lead the person to transgress Torah prohibition by capturing an animal that is able to flee. Okay, so we said before we continue. So on in order to transgress the melach on a biblical level, right? A person, right? We said there are several conditions. So it must trap healthy, entirely free creature. So meaning not the domesticated animal, right? Entirely free. That. B, objective must be for trapping creature for some purpose, meaning not just play with it, but for some real purpose, for skin, for meat, and others. C, it must be creature that commonly trapped. It's commonly trapped. And D, it must confine to the creature in a small area. Okay, so those four conditions that only if all of them a person is going to transgress, he's going to transgress the prohibition on Torah level. So now we're going to rabbinical level. So meaning he's saying if even a person is sick or weak, meaning it cannot run away. So in a sense, as we said I think last time, so this animal is like already captured, like in a state of being captured always. Why? Because it's old, it cannot run away. Right? Or it's weak, or it's sick, or something. Okay. So, but our rabbis say it is even forbidden to capture this animal. Why? Because it's only a matter of time when person caught this animal, she's going to try to catch healthy animal. Okay, next one, B, where objective is not to use trapping creature, trapping of animal on Shabbos for some purpose other than use of the animal itself forbidden under rabbinic law. So on a biblical level, as we said, if somebody wants to use this animal, maybe domesticate this animal, or I don't know, you use the hides, bones, I don't know, all of these things, meat, right? That would be forbidden on a biblical level because it's for constructive purpose. So here, a person has have some other purposes than to use the animal itself. It's rabbinic forbidden under rabbinic law. So the way I see it, maybe they want to catch a deer, not to kill it, not to use, but so it prevent it from eating vegetables from our garden, maybe. Okay, so it would be forbidden, and so meaning the person wants to catch, like scare it and release. Okay, so it would be forbidden under rabbinic law. Continue. C, a creature that is commonly trapped is not commonly trapped. It is forbidden by a rabbinic decree to trap creatures that are not ordinarily trapped for use, such as flies and mosquito. Right. So meaning for sure nobody needs these flies and mosquito unless they use when we have somebody, I think I said, one of students a long time ago, no longer is learning with us, had the frogs and asked if it's right, if they can feed these frogs with like live food. Okay, so in this case, yeah, if I think frogs would eat fly, so it would be, yeah, for the food. For sure, a constructive purpose, but for the rest of us, it's not concerned. Okay, so that's so our sages forbade even that. Next one, D, where creature is not closely confined. So we said one of the last conditions was that it's closely confined, meaning you can catch easily, right? It would be forbidden in biblical law. So of course we said it depends on a creature. If you have the whole room and you close the door and there's a fly there, fly is fine, right? But if you like a smaller room, tiny room, and you close a cow there, a horse, or your dog or cat, yeah, that's dog or cat is not a good idea. It's not a good example, but some wild animal, yeah, it would be like they call it. So continue. And D, where the creature is not closely confined. As B explained, the biblical prohibition of trapping applies only where the animal is placed into the close confinement. However, the rabbis extended the prohibition to include even the case in which the animal is loosely confined. The rabbis enacted this decree because they feared that allowing loose confinement would lead people to violate biblical law, right, by practicing close confinement. Loose confinement, double quotes, is defined as making some freedom, is taking some freedom away from the animal while still not bring it under the one's complete control. For example, example would be chasing a deer from the outdoors into the large spacious building or a corral. Okay. Although this denies the animal a degree of freedom, right, it would not bring it under the personal control. Since actually catching a loosely confined animal requires a great deal of further effort, the animal is not regarded as being captured. Therefore, the act of confinement does not violate the biblical prohibition against trapping. It does, however, violate the Rabbinic prohibition. So, which is a very good example. So let's go over it again and try to understand. So again, as explained, the biblical prohibition of trapping applies only when the animal is placed into close confinement. So close confinement, like in few moves, you can catch it. So that's what it is. Right. However, Rabbinic rabbis extended the prohibition to include even the case where the animal is loosely confined. So, right, meaning again, some people ask like for definition. So if you ask for definition, there is no clear definition. Loosely confined. I mean, it's a general. We can explain how easily to catch or not to catch, but many people can see things very differently. So that's why rabbis say, okay, no definition. So you're not allowed to catch it. Okay. The rabbis enacted the decree because they feared that allowing loose confinement would lead people to violate biblical law by practicing close confinement, right? So meaning it's one step removed, right, from loose confinement to the close confinement. So loose confinement is defined by taking some freedom away from the animal while still not bring under the complete control, right? So as he said, right, you take a deer, right, which is very swift, very, right, and right from outdoors and into large spacious building or corral. So I mean, go try to catch the deer. So most likely it's not going to work out so easily, right? So even though yes, it's the deer is confined in this by the fence, but still it's a lot of room. to move. Right, so continues. Since actually catching a loosely confined animal requires a great deal of further effort, right? These deer and corral, still a lot of efforts. The animal is not regarded being captured. Therefore, the active confinement does not violate biblical prohibition against trapping, but does, however, violate rabbinic prohibition. So we don't do it unless there is some extenuating circumstances. So next one, next one, it's like maybe subside of this one. So it says, bring animal from loose confinement into the close confinement. Bringing a loosely confined animal into close confinement on Shabbat violates the biblical melacha of trapping. Hence, a person would be forbidden to chase a deer from a large spacious enclosure into a smaller room. Okay. So, right. So again, when it was in a loose confinement is one thing, but when you go from loose confinement to the close, like to the close confinement, that's that's already a violation on the biblical level. Okay. So now different type of animals. And it's a semi-domesticated animals, right? So it's not so simple. Let's see. Semi-domesticated animals are animals that wander free by day and but return home at night. While outdoors during the day, the animals will not submit to their masters and will not return when called. Because this animal return home at night, they are regarded by biblical law as a constant state of capture. Right. Therefore, their capture on Shabbos is not included in biblical prohibition of trapping. However, the rabbis extended the prohibition to include even the capture of these animals. Okay. So let's see. So again, semi-domesticated animals. So what was it? We'll see examples. Some So some I think even chickens, right? They just let them go. And the chickens just go anywhere they want, and then they come back at night, right? At night, or when they give them food. So they give them food, and then they can continue wandering around. Okay. So while outdoors during the day, the animals will not submit to their masters. They will they will not return when called. So meaning. So in a sense, they're free, right? It's like a wild animals, during the day. Because these animals return home at night, they're regarded under the biblical law and constant state of capture. Okay. Therefore, their capture on Shabbos is not included in biblical prohibition of trapping. So meaning, because even though it's semi-domesticated, domesticated they stay in a house, or people take them to pastures or something, right? So that's very different. But here, animals just do whatever they want. Maybe cats, right? So sometimes I go to shul and see cats you see that they have owners, right? It's not like homeless cats. Okay, so it's very early in the morning. I'm not sure when they go home. Maybe at night they go out. Then during the day they'll go home. I'm not sure, but there are some cats like that. Okay. However, the rabbis extended the prohibition to include even the capture of these animals, because one thing leads to another. As we said, and people bystanders, they would not see the difference from one to another. So now we're going into the section number 6, and topic is permitted acts of trapping. Slow-moving animals. Any creature that moves very slowly is considered to be in a constant state of capture. Therefore, its capture does not violate melacha of trapping, and it is entirely permitted both by biblical and rabbinic law. Some creatures in this category are turtle, caterpillars, earthworms, snails. Okay. It must be emphasized that although it is permitted to trap this creature on Shabbos, they are muktzah. Therefore, one who captured this may not handle them directly, but must catch them without laying hands upon them, such as placing something over them, or by cornering them so that they cannot escape. Okay, so let's review this. Slow moving animals. So meaning they not consider they in a state of constant capture, right? So we can capture them. I'm not sure. Like maybe they bother their own place in your house or something. So that's the way I understand that, right? But otherwise, why would you want to capture them, right? So meaning person who capture them, and these turtles, caterpillars, earthworms, and snails, right? So it does not violate melacha on biblical or rabbinical level, right? So on one hand we can capture them, on the other hand they're muktzah, right? So meaning muktzah meaning set aside. There is no like use on Shabbos for these animals. What are you going to do with them, right? And you cannot kill them. That's a different prohibition, right? You cannot do shchita. So capture and shchita two different things. Therefore, one who capture them, so cannot help them directly because they are muktzah with something, right? Maybe with a broom and a dustpan or something. And plus, if possible, same with other insects. If possible, not to kill them, better not to kill them. Okay, that's a different story, but right. It's better. First of all, on Shabbos we cannot do shchita, but also spiritually, as we said, sometimes it's better not to kill, unless they can run away and create problems in your house. That's a different story. So B, domesticated animals. It is entirely permissible to trap domesticated animals, and do not try to escape when one catches them, but instead become completely subdued. These animals are constantly considered to be in a constant state of capture, and so not included in the melacha of trapping. Included this category are cows, sheep, and many domesticated house pets, for example, dogs. Here, too, direct handling of the animal is forbidden because it is prohibition of muktzah. One is permitted simply to chase the animal into the small space or into the corner, or to corner them so that they cannot escape. If the domesticated animal has become rebellious, it is no longer considered to be in a constant state of capture. Therefore, catching it on Shabbos would violate the biblical melacha of trapping. Okay, so let's do domesticated animal. I think it's very practical, better, more practical than turtles. I mean, even though some people have turtles as a pets, but I think they keep in an aquarium or something. Usually they do not roam in a house. Usually, I'm not sure. Maybe sometimes they do. Okay. So again, domesticated animal, it's entirely permissible to trap domesticated animal. They do not try to escape, right? So they're not afraid of us. They not try to escape. Actually, opposite. They like to play, right? They like to be handled. Right, when one catches them, but instead are completely subdued, right? So they're not trying to run away, no problem. Right, these animals are considered to be in constant state of capture, and are not included in the melacha of trapping. But included what cows, sheep, other horses, many domesticated animals like house pets like dogs. Right, but the problem is, as we said, they're muktzah, so we cannot touch them. Right, and plus, even like a problem with petting them, because a person might inadvertently pull some hairs. That would be a problem. Okay. One is permitted simply to chase the animal into small space, right, or in a corner, or corner them so that it cannot escape. I mean, if you cannot handle them, I mean, we're going to see the practical applications, how it can be applied, right? But at least maybe if it's a sheep or a cow, to get it back to the stable, to the corral, that would be like indoors, right? From outdoors, like by the night, take him to like indoors. Okay, so I think would be example. A domesticated animal has not that has become rebellious, right? It's now no longer considered a constant state of capture, right? And therefore, catching them on Shabbos would violate the biblical melach of trapping. So some domesticated animals. Somebody told me about cats. Some types of cats, they so independent, they don't want to be handled, they don't want to be anything. Just give them food and clean up after them. That's yeah, you like domesticated help for them, to them, right? So they're king and you right, and people they're servants. So this they're not considered domesticated in this sense, right? Because they don't want to be handled. Okay. So continue. Actually, let me quickly check time because it's a big topic. Okay, so let's try to continue. And it says a special leniencies regarding the melacha of trapping. It's section number 7. Special leniencies regarding melacha of trapping. Animal and insects that inflict pain. Right. It says note with laws of the animals that or an insect that endanger human life. See page 358. So we're on 349. Okay, we're going to get to it. So basically, if it's human life, we said before, you're allowed to kill them. You have a newborn baby, right? And there is all of this mosquito. You don't have to be expert to see it's a poisonous mosquito, not poisonous. You can kill. Or snakes. So also, I think Talmud said you don't have to be expert. It's poisonous snakes, not poisonous. It's tiny, shminy. It's afraid of you. Like it's absolutely irrelevant. So if you can kill it, you can kill it. Okay. Or other animals. Spiders also. Okay, so let's see. Hey, animals and insects that inflict pain. Okay. Number 1, they inflict severe pain. A person is afraid that a stinging insect, such as bee or a wasp or hornet, will sting him or someone else. He is permitted to trap it on Shabbos. Since the bites of this insect can cause the severe pain. However, the trapping should be not done with a device specifically made for this purpose. Rather, it should be done with a makeshift way, such as placing cap over the insect. Okay, so let's do point by point. And this, yeah, some people, we have to know, some people are allergic to this thing. Right, and they can basically die. They usually have to go to the hospital. Something like this happens. Severe cases. I think I said we had in my office this case. One time was with the nuts. A guy ate a peanut or a different nut. Had to call ambulance, and in another case it was a bee. I'm not sure how the bee got inside. Or sink while a person was outside coming from a lunch break. I don't exactly remember, but it was scary, a scary experience, right? Some people have this allergy, right? So if a person is afraid that the stinging insect, such as bee or wasp or hornet, will sting him or someone else, it is permitted to trap the insect on Shabbos. So you have a little baby. Right, very sweet and very nice. So right, so you're allowed to trap them, since the bites instance cause severe pain. So even to adults, maybe right, even to adults. Um, so I remember when I was little, we were like we would go every summer. We would go to Bangala colony, and it's like on the bank of the river, and you go there, of course, barefoot, and there are some beasts like got in the water. So basically, they are on the shore, and many times we step on them, and they sting. But it's huge pain, right? It's very painful, especially for kids. I'm not sure how old we were, but right. I remember many times, many people step on them. So continue. However, so severe pain. However, the trapping should not be done with a device that is specifically made for this purpose. I'm not sure what's the divine the device that done for specific. I mean, there's like this tape, this sticky tape from olden days. I mean, still work. I'm not sure if it's usually for flies. But whatever we did before Shabbos, like for example, you have the sticky tape that hang in there for the whole season. There is no problem, right? It's not like you did something specifically. Or in some places they have a lamp. So we went some time ago, not too long ago, to the fish store, right? And the fish store they have this lamp, and you see from time to time you see the sound. Somebody got caught there, right? And just the insects, right? It's like burn them, very loud. Rather, it should be done in a makeshift way. So meaning even these wasps, these bees don't do the specific like a specific instrument, but makeshift way. Right, cup. This is a cup. Continue. Or so sometimes like if you have something sweet in your cup, so it would go in. So cover it with a napkin. Number 2, where they inflict minor pain. With regard to insects that are able to bite or sting people, right, but do not cause great pain. For example, mosquito or gnats. The Shabbos rules are as follows. If the insect is already in a person's body, where it is whether or not it is in a process of biting, they should try to remove it without trapping. That is by shaking or blowing it off. If this is impossible, they may pick it off by hand, by capturing it, right, and throw it away. If the insect is not on a person's body, one may dry away, but may not capture it. If mosquito, actually, let's split it in two. Let's split it. So now, as we see, it's very, very practical. I mean, mosquito. I think everybody have this problem, especially Sukkot is coming, right? And bees and all of the wasps. And mosquitoes, all of them in Sukkot, they come to visit. Okay, so let's see. Where they inflict minor pain. With regard to insects that are liable to bite or sting people, right, but do not cause great pain, right? For example, mosquito or gnats. I would say it depends. It depends whom, right? For some people, that not such a great pain. But some other family member can, I don't know, cannot stop scratching themselves, which is terrible. You understand? It's depends on the person. Depends on the person. Okay, but let's see. For majority of people, not great pain, right? The rules of Shabbos is as follows. Okay, so if it's not a great pain, the rules as follows. So if it's great pain, I would say they are in category A. If the insect is already on a person's body, whether it is in a process of biting, whether or not, right, he should try to remove it without trapping it, right? By shaking or blowing off. So meaning, even if it's biting, so try to remove, it will blow off. I mean, if you can't, sometimes like I feel it's on your neck. How is exactly like it's so fragile. You most likely are going to kill. Or many times people would do something without thinking. That's also a problem. Okay. They capture it and throw it away. If the insect is not on a person's body, one may drive it away, right? So meaning if it's on the clothing, right, may drive it away, but not, may not capture it. So, if it's a puzzle, so like pick it up and try to bring outside or throw somewhere else, right, without killing it. So many times a person would. I'm not sure about gnats, how you would do with gnats, but with bigger insects like mosquito, it's possible, but most likely it's going to get damaged, right? You're going to break wings, right, or something. But that's a different story. So we're talking about not to kill it. We're trying to follow the book. Okay. So continue. If mosquito is hovering near an infant, right, it is not possible to drive it away, one may capture it on Shabbos. If capturing the insect is impossible, one may even kill it. So I'm not sure how to capture a mosquito without killing. Like a fly, sometimes you can catch a fly, right, in your hand, and it's still alive, right? You can go to the window and open like your fist, it can fly away. But with mosquito, I'm not sure how you can capture in mid-air. I'm not sure. Without killing it. So right, again, we said if it's infant, you can capture. If you cannot capture, you may even kill it. The reason is that the permitted the mosquito bite can pose a serious danger, such as a small child. Right. So these small children, especially infants and even a little older, they consider to be like in this category, constant sick people. Right. So meaning that we're allowed to do many things for them, and this mosquito can create a lot of damage. And some people, I was told today about someone. Right. I mean, I understood what was going on. So a person would like staying aside and not to go to the people. I try to isolate themselves. So it's some kind that they're going through the therapy, some chemotherapy or something. I don't know. Meaning the immune system is very down, very low. Right. So in this case, if also, right, the person is adult, but this mosquito can create a lot of damage to this person because of the situation. Small child. Right. Okay. A person who is allergic to mosquitoes or bees bite may kill mosquito in order to protect himself from being bitten. So this, of course, we can do it for ourselves and also for other family members, right, or somebody people, right, that staying with us, right. So meaning, it's not. I mean, it is shita, but it's not shita on a biblical level. And when there is a choice between your life or your health and the health of this mosquito, so we choose a person's life and health, right? So there is no problem. You can kill them again if this allergic reaction. So subpoint A: insects that do not inflict pain, harmless insects that such as ants and fleas. May not be trapped on Shabbos. Ants are also different ants. Some of them actually they bite very severely, right? Some ants. Most of them I guess not. Fleas. Okay. Fleas. Okay. So this again, those that do not inflict pain cannot trap on Shabbos. No, but just so you know, we can use a repellent. Right, to not spray on them, of course, but around, so there is no problem. So number 3, trapping in order to prevent monetary loss. It is forbidden to perform an act of trapping that is prohibited by biblical level, even if doing so will prevent serious monetary loss. However, where the act of trapping is forbidden by Rabbinic law only, and performing the act will prevent the person from suffering a serious monetary loss, several possible leniencies come into play. So let's, before we go to all of these cases, let's do a review again. Trapping in order to prevent monetary loss, and we actually have had it in, or we're going to learn in the laws of muktzah. Sometimes, some things would be allowed to do to prevent monetary loss, especially it applies to the laws of Holomayet, right? So to prevent the loss. But even some of them on Shabbos. Okay. So meaning it's something that would not be in violation of biblical prohibition, of course, right? But something in violation of rabbinical, right? And our sages so don't push person too hard, right? If you push them and you completely forbid them, and now they're going to think the whole day and the whole night how much money they lose, so that's not good approach, not healthy approach. Meaning a person can break the law. Okay. So again, it is forbidden to perform an act of trapping that is prohibited by biblical law, even if doing so prevent serious monetary loss. For example, trapping fish or something, right? Or there is deers. You saw many deers coming through your territory. Okay. So and they migrated. So you do it now, or you lose the opportunity. Okay. So absolutely forbidden. However, where the act of trapping is forbidden by rabbinic law only, and performing the act will prevent the person from suffering serious monetary loss, several possible leniencies come into play. So another key word is serious monetary loss. Of course, proper rabbinic authority has to evaluate what is the serious monetary loss is. So it would depend on the individual, right? It's not It's not across the board. Okay. So first one, A, instructing a non-Jew. The rule is that one may instruct non-Jew to perform an act forbidden by the sages in order to prevent substantial financial loss. Accordingly, where the trapping an animal will protect a person from the monetary loss, and the prohibition is of rabbinic origin only, one is permitted to ask non-Jew to trap the animal. For example, if a valuable semi-domesticated pet whose capture is forbidden by rabbinic law only, right? So meaning a dog ran away, right? Escaped from one's home, the owner is permitted to instruct a non-Jew to capture it and bring it home, for the loss of the valuable animal constitutes significant monetary loss. Right. Right. So let's do from the beginning, and we try to understand before we continue. Okay, so let's do. So instructing a non-Jew, right? So we had one of the neighbors, right? So they have a little dog, a poodle, very very loud. That's I think you can hear in one of the Sukkah lecture. So I was trying to do it outside, but they let the dog out on a porch and makes a lot of noise, tiny dog. So this guy told me, so some, I don't know why I'm trying not to talk to the neighbors, but I was outside and he decided to keep me company for whatever reason. So he told me about this dog, that they paid $5,000 for this dog. I said, $5,000? Like, I don't know. He started explaining it's smart dog. It's like a rare type, this and that, all these things. So yeah, like $5,000. Not every person has a car that was $5,000, right? So yes, for sure it's valuable. So I mean, and dog is to capture the dog is forbidden only on rabbinic level. So in this case, yeah, you can ask if a dog ran away, or cat. Cats also, some of them very expensive, right? Also, somebody told me 3,000, 7,000. I said it cannot be. A person, I mean, they asked me a question, whatever the question is, and they send me the link. Yeah, that's how much this cat, $7,000 without fur or something, or a scary looking cat. I don't know why people spend so much money, but that's what it, especially Jews. And non-Jews, let them be happy, but Jews, so much money. I don't know, make me a little upset. Okay, so continue. The rule is that one may instruct a non-Jew to perform an act forbidden by the sages in order to prevent substantial financial loss. Right? So whatever is not, so the general rule, whatever is not allowed for us to do, we're not allowed to instruct non-Jew. But however, whatever is not allowed for us to do on a rabbinical level, and second condition, there is to prevent significant financial loss, so we can ask them to do. So meaning deal with the muktzah, right? So they ask him to bring the muktzah from outdoors to indoors, right? Or even to his house, right? If you got some tools, right? So say, Mr. So-and-so, can you keep it like after Shabbos or a Sunday, Monday, I'm going to pick it up from you? Say no problem. So right, so he takes it from wherever is it, and takes to his house, to your shed, whatever to your house, to your apartment, whatever he does. Okay, it would be allowed. According to trapping of animal will protect the persons from monetary loss. So meaning this domesticated, like these cats or this poodle for $5,000. I'm not sure how people can pay so much money. And the prohibition is of rabbinic origin only. Right? One is permitted to ask non-Jew to trap the animal. For example, right, a valuable semi-domesticated pet whose capture is forbidden by rabbinic law only escaped from one's home. Right? The owner is permitted to instruct non-Jew to capture it, bring it home, for the loss of valuable animal constitutes significant monetary loss. Okay. So that's the case. Okay, so B, an act twice removed from the Torah prohibition. Right. So that's let's see. We were talking about this concept not so long ago. Twice removed. Where there are two reasons to exclude a given act of trapping from the biblical Shabbos prohibition, and an act is necessary to avoid significant monetary loss. One is permitted to perform the acts on Shabbos. For example, it is permitted by biblical law to trap semi-domesticated animals on Shabbos, and it is permitted by biblical law to loosely confine the animal on Shabbos. True, both acts are prohibited by rabbinic law. However, where the single act combines both biblical permits, and it will prevent a significant financial loss, the rabbis waived their decrees. Sorry. Therefore, one would be permitted to loosely confine a semi-domesticated animal in order to avoid the monetary loss. An example would be chasing semi-domesticated bird, such as dove, into a large room and close the door behind it. If this is done in order to avoid financial loss, for example, that the dove should not be stolen, it is permitted. See page 347 for halachic definition, semi-domesticated animal. I mean, right, the doves, as I understand, they would fly, like do whatever they want during the day, and then at night they would come. In olden days, I remember, even in the city, I saw the dove cotes right on top of the building, few of them, right, all not all, from olden days, people, I think Italian people. That's I'm not sure how they would use it, but but I saw it, right, in the town where I live. It was a long time ago. No more these people, right? So again from the beginning, an act twice removed from the Torah prohibition. So meaning right. So let's continue. We're going to explain. Where there are two reasons to exclude. There's a given act from trapping, from biblical Shabbos prohibition, and an act is necessary to avoid the significant monetary loss. So both of them, it's forbidden only on a biblical level, or only on a rabbinic level, and plus there is a second reason, the monetary loss, right? One is permitted to perform the acts on Shabbos. So meaning when it says one is permitted, even by himself, right, without asking non-Jew. For example, it is permitted by biblical law to trap semi-domesticated animal on Shabbos. Right, and let's use this example, these doves. And it is permitted by biblical law to loosely confine the animal on Shabbos. So meaning a dove caught, I don't think they feel that they are trapped. I don't think so. I mean, I think there is food for them, the room for them, so they actually enjoy. Okay. True, both these acts, but of course, going from outdoors, going to this much smaller building, for sure it's confinement, but it's still loose confinement. True, both these acts are prohibited by rabbinic law. However, where the single act combines both biblical permits, right? Oh, apologies. However, the single acts combines both biblical permits, and it will prevent the significant loss, right? The rabbis waive the decree, so meaning the double leniency, so double doubt. Sveka, they call, right, in Hebrew, or it's in Aramaic, right? So meaning a double doubt. Therefore, one would be permitted loosely confined semi-domesticated animal in order to avoid monetary loss. So these doves also, I just go from what read in the Talmud from Rambam. So that's they cost a lot of some of them people would steal them, right, from one another. So meaning a person who has this dove coat in a city limit would not be permitted to testify as a witness. So it's one of the categories. A gambler is one of them, but second is this one. Why? Because he benefit from stolen articles. What? These doves, they come to the different dove cotes from different people backyards, right, where people raise chickens, right, and they give food to chickens, and this guess what? The doves also eat. If you go to, I don't know, many years ago we went to a zoo, and there is a section where you have the different birds, right? Different beautiful birds from all over the world, right? Very interesting. And there are many local ones, ducks and the doves, local, right? I'm not sure how they got there. I think that there is like a net, huge net around, but somehow they found a way to get in, and they eat the food of these animals, but meaning stealing. So meaning these semi-domesticated doves, they all day long they fly around. By the night they come. So meaning they come. Now they're not hungry because they stole food from other people. So it says, like, if you want to do that, you have to move it to the desert. So the desert meaning that it should be some distance. I don't remember what distance from urban area, right? Meaning that these doves, of course, there's possible the dove can fly, I don't know, 100 miles. I don't know how much, like a day or something. Yeah, or maybe not 100, but a lot of miles on a day. Of course, if he want, he would fly to back to the city. But usually they eat wherever they can find around, much closer to the place where they live, not out there. So in this case, they would investigate if we can allow this person to testify. Testify meaning he also cannot be a witness in a wedding or something. All those cases, right? Why? Those. Right. Therefore, one would be permitted to loosely confine the semi-domesticated animal in order to avoid monetary loss. An example would be chasing a semi-domesticated bird, such as dove, into the large room and closing the door behind it. If this is done in order to avoid the financial loss, there is so that the dove should not be stolen. It is permitted. Right? It is permitted. No problem. Of course, as we said, maybe they cost a lot of money. Okay, so let's stop here. And the next section is the practical applications.